are ready to start the live stream now. Okay, I will now call to order the regular City Council meeting of September 28th, 2020. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the meeting is being held electronically and members of council are participating remotely pursuant to the council's electronic participation policy. Public access to the meeting is available on the Local Government Access Channel 8 for Comcast and Xfinity subscribers and on the city's YouTube channel online. Public access is also available by telephone by utilizing the call-in numbers posted on the meeting agenda. All callers will be muted and may only comment during the times allotted for public comment as indicated on the agenda. If you're on the phone line waiting to speak to council and are also watching the meeting on YouTube or Channel 8, please know there are a couple of seconds of delay with the live stream. Please turn down your computer or TV volume as we approach the sections of the agenda reserved for public invited to be heard, so you can hear the council meeting on the phone line and to prevent background noise when you are unmuted to speak. Those calling in and wishing to speak to council may text 303-450-8757 to sign up to provide public comment. Please note that you must connect to the City Council meeting by calling the separate call-in number listed on the agenda. If you prefer to not text your name to the clerk, please speak up and indicate your desire to provide public comment when prompted at the appropriate times. Once you have been recognized, state your name and address and provide your comments to council. Thank you for following these directions and for maintaining meeting decorum tonight. Joanna, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Leidy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford.
Here.
Councilmember Whitkovich.
Here.
Councilmember Peterson.
Here.
Councilmember Downing.
Here.
Councilmember Brown will be absent. Councilmember Goff.
Here.
Councilmember Duran-Mollica.
Here.
Councilmember Escobar.
Here.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to share my screen so we see our flag. Please join me as we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. Welcome back. Okay. So we are moving into response to citizen inquiry. City Manager Geyer, do you have anything tonight?
Nothing this evening, Mayor Leidy. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, okay. We are moving into proclamations. So our first one is for National Fire Prevention Week, October 4th through the 10th. So we have Division Chief of Fire Prevention, Steve Goslin. North Metro Fire District will accept the proclamation. So thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and read it, and then we will let you say a few words. I can share my screen as well. Okay. Whereas the City of Northglenn is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Northglenn, and whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires and injuries in the United States, and whereas 2 of every 5 home fires start in the kitchen, with 31% of those fires resulting
Did we just lose the mayor?
Mayor, we cannot hear you.
Please, sir.
Oh, now we.
Did I disappear?
You did, and you we couldn't hear you.
where was I? Should I just start over?
Sure.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, here we are again, National Fire Prevention Week. So, whereas the City of Northglenn is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Northglenn, and whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires and injuries in the United States, and whereas 2 of every 5 home fires start in the kitchen, with 31% of these fires resulting from unattended cooking. And whereas the National Fire Protection Association's 2020 Fire Prevention Week theme, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen, effectively serves to remind us to stay alert and use caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. And whereas North Metro Fire first responders and staff are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas Northglenn's residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. Now, therefore, I, Meredith Leidy, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, do hereby proclaim October 4th through the 10th, 2020, as National Fire Prevention Week in the City of Northglenn, and urge all residents to check their kitchens for fire hazards and use safe cooking practices during Fire Prevention Week, and to support the many public safety activities and
Mayor, you just froze again.
Hi again. So I don't know what's going on. I haven't had this issue before. Can you hear me now? Yes, okay. Did I get to the bottom or no? Yes? I am so sorry. I don't know why it just said Ring Central reconnecting and I saw that I was bumped off. I apologize for that, but we would like to hear from our North Metro Fire Rescue District staff that have come, and we do have a board member with us, Jenny Murphy. So anyone, Mr. Gosling, if you want to start first.
Sure thing. Thank you, Mayor Leidy and Council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Before I continue, all right. The Fire District North Metro would like to thank Mayor and Council for this proclamation. It's a really good thing that the city and council does every year to recognize Fire Prevention Week, which is the longest running public health observance in our country. It's been going on almost a full century now. It started back in 1992. And this year, as the proclamation states, it's serve up fire safety in the kitchen. Kitchen fires account for the vast majority of home fires and fire injuries, as was noted. And we do really appreciate, the fire district really appreciates council's attention to fire safety and encouraging its residents to always be diligent when it comes to fire safety in the home. I will let Sarah talk specifically about the work that our life safety educators are going to be doing in the community. Because for me to take credit for all the hard work that Sarah has been doing to get them out and plan their events would just be wrong. So right now I'll pass the torch over to Sarah.
Thank you, Gosling. And thank you again for this proclamation, Mayor and Council. It's such an honor, and it really helps us get the word out and try to, enhance what we can in the community, keep our community safe, especially when it comes to kitchen fires. This year, we had to take a totally fresh look at Fire Prevention Week because it's with COVID, we wanted to make sure what we were doing could still protect our community from any kind of risk of exposure, but also get the word out and continue the education within our community and risk reduction. So this year we're going to start off Fire Prevention Week October 4th and with the scavenger hunt. And so it kicks off. We have 3 different locations. One of those locations is going to be at the Northland Rec Center, and we invite residents to come and stop by each of the 3 locations. They'll participate in an educational activity, have some takeaways with them, and then they get points for each stop. And if they do the 3 stops on that Sunday, they'll also get a prize for those efforts. And then they'll be able to complete the scavenger hunt from home. And they can either use a mobile application to participate in the scavenger hunt, or they can use a downloaded printable version. And then also we'll have a couple of different story times that we'll be doing virtually on Facebook, and also an outdoor story time throughout the week. We'll be delivering safety tips on our social media. People can follow us online. And then we'll wrap up the week on Saturday, the 10th. We'll have a drive up food drive where people can drop off non-perishable items such as canned soup, cereal, and peanut butter and jelly. And we also encourage them to do this kitchen safety checklist that we'll have available online. And if they do those 2 things, we'll have a goodie bag that we'll give them. And all of the food that we collect through this food drive, we'll be able to give back to the community. We've partnered with Immaculate Heart of Mary Stewardship Center in Northglenn, and so they'll be receiving some of those items. And so we really encourage people to be a part of this, not just educational mission, but also an opportunity to give back to our community, especially those that are in need during this time. So everyone can find something out about the Fire Prevention Week online at nmfr.org/FPW. So hopefully we'll be able to get some people to participate this year.
That sounds great, Sarah. Thank you. And I also have noticed that we have a few guests that they are welcome to speak if they would like. We have educators Pam Kuchin and Sasha Story joining tonight, and also Fire Chief Dave Ramos. I didn't know if Chief Ramos wanted to say hello. No, maybe he's shy. So thank you for being here. And for all of that information. It sounds like a ton of fun. Did you have anything else?
That's it.
No, we just want to.
Thank you.
Yeah, just want to say thanks. Thanks for having us, and thanks for acknowledging Fire Prevention Week yet again.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, our second proclamation is National Customer Service Week. And I'm not quite sure if sharing my screen is what was getting all funny, so I'm not going to, and we'll see if I can hang on through the whole thing. We have Jason Hensel, Utilities Operations Manager, is with us, and he will accept the proclamation, so I will begin now. Whereas in 1992, the United States Congress proclaimed that National Customer Service Week will be recognized as an annual event and celebrated during the first full week in October. And whereas National Customer Service Week is set aside to recognize the importance of service excellence and honor those, it's giving me a warning that it's unstable. Am I there?
You're here. I think
Okay.
It's your internet service cutting in and out. So Ring Central is going to automatically try to reboot. So we'll let you know if you cut out.
Okay. I'll just keep going. Still on the second one. Whereas National Customer Service Week is set aside to recognize the importance of service excellence and honor those who demonstrate outstanding customer service and who consistently perform their duties with the highest level of professionalism. And whereas the City of Northglenn is committed to providing the highest and most efficient level of customer service, and it is important that high quality customer service be a goal of every person in the organization. And whereas the City Council desires to express its sincere thanks and appreciation for the excellent service provided by employees of the City of Northglenn, and wishes to acknowledge the quality service provided by employees externally to residents and the public and internally to their fellow coworkers. And whereas by recognizing National Customer Service Week, we can provide an opportunity to generate an even stronger commitment to customer service excellence through motivation and teamwork to continue throughout the year. Now, therefore, I, Meredith Leidy, Mayor of the City of Northglenn, Colorado, do hereby proclaim the week of October 5th through 9th, 2020 as National Customer Service Week in the City of Northglenn. I hereby honor the staff of the City of Northglenn and their commitment to service and encourage our staff to continue their efforts to provide quality assistance and support to all of those who seek our services. Dated at Northglenn, Colorado, this 28th day of September 2020. So thank you, Jason, for being here. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I wish we could accept this proclamation in person so that I could have some of my team members with me to accept it.
Yeah.
Our team consists of certified operators, plant mechanics, laboratory technicians, and administrative staff, many of whom who work around the clock or on call 24/7 to ensure that the residents of the city don't have to think twice about where their water comes from or where it goes once they send it down the drain. Since this pandemic began, having access to clean, safe water and a reliable sanitary sewer system is more important than ever in keeping people safe and healthy. Our team proudly continues to serve the residents of Northglenn and is honored, along with all of the city's other employees, to receive this proclamation tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here. Okay. Well, thank you to all of our city staff and all the hard work that you put in all of the time. Okay, we're moving into public invited to be heard. This is an opportunity for public comment on any item not set for public hearing. Statements are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Statements must be related to city business and limited to matters of community interest. Joanna, has anyone signed up tonight?
I do want to acknowledge one email that I received earlier from a resident named Sharon M. That email has been provided directly to all of City Council, and she had provided a statement regarding a personal experience with the Northland Police Department and expressing support for the department. And then in addition to that, I received one voicemail, and so I would like to play that for City Council right now. And this is from an individual named Jackie Chartier.
Hi, my name is Jackie Chartier, and I'm calling on behalf of the council meeting this evening. I wanted to share some positive things about my family's interactions with the Northland Police Department. My family's lived in Northland since 1959. My mom's still residing there. Something that surely has helped her out. 2 officers delivered her prescriptions to her last week. And also on Halloween, I would imagine that there may be people listening to this whose children have had a great time at Safe Street Halloween at Northland High School. That was organized by the Northland Police Department, and I know the kids sure had a great time. Also, the Christmas situation that Northland Police Department has organized are wrapping hundreds of gifts, and something that kids certainly enjoyed and may not have otherwise gotten gifts for Christmas for the last several years. I have a nephew who is a recent graduate at Northland High School, and he certainly was pleased that there was an officer there at the school because of some situations that had occurred. He felt much safer going there. And also the traffic situation on the street that my mom lives on has certainly improved. There has been more police presence there, and I'm hoping that will continue because it sure has made things a lot safer where she lives in Northland. So I just wanted to share those things, those positive things about our police department, that they're all doing a great job, and I know that it's going to continue. Thank you for listening.
I don't have anyone else signed up on the list. I'm not sure. There are several participants on the line, so I don't know if we just want to pause for a minute. If anyone wants to unmute themselves, and speak during public invited to be heard, they just need to press *6 just to see if there's anyone on the line.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We are moving into communications. So we should have some committee updates and other announcements. We'll start with Ward 1, Councilmember Peterson.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Mayor. Government Affairs Committee tonight that Julie will report out on a little bit. Excuse me, Jenny will report out on a little bit. A couple other things. Had an opportunity, wasn't able to attend the N-Line opening because of work, but I did take a ride on that this weekend and was very, very pleased. Related to the N-Line, I've been hearing from many residents about their concerns over the horns and the noise, and as many of us have. And as I would share with all the residents, as of the opening of the N-Line this week, in full, the N-Line and the train should be going through what we call a quiet zone. And so for those of you during the testing period that were rightfully bothered and inconvenienced by the incessant horns, please keep in touch with me in Ward 1 and your council, Ashley, as well in Ward 1, and your other council members, so we can monitor if this is being adhered to. And that's something that's going to be a big deal, obviously, in our communication and working with RTD. So hopefully there should be some abatement with the noise this week. But if not, please let us know in Ward 1 and your other representatives as well. The other thing I want to share with council and our residents is it is really not too late to complete, and the urgency for completing Census 2020 is huge. All right, this is huge. The census, as many of us know, is mandated by the United States Constitution to count the population every 10 years. As we see very concerted efforts at the highest levels of government to slow, if not stop, voting outreach and exercising citizens' right to vote here in the upcoming elections, it is more important than ever for our residents to fill out the census. Adams County would be the direct recipient of millions and millions of federal dollars based on the numbers from the census. It's not too late. I've seen conflicting reports, even as of today, that they will stop the census self fill out form online at the, I believe, September 30th. I've also heard October 3rd. So let's not dilly-dally on this. 4 out of 10 Americans have yet to complete the census. And this is huge, not only for our federal resources, but for our representation in Congress and at the federal level and in all levels of government. So I would just highly encourage our residents. It takes 10 minutes. It's patriotic. It's the right thing to do. It's constitutional to go ahead and spend just a few minutes to make sure that your voice and the resources that serve our community are aptly counted. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Witkovich.
Thank you, Mayor. Oh, can you hear me okay? Yeah. Just a couple quick things for me. I attended the North Metro Fire Rescue Board meeting on September 15th. And then I was honored and excited to attend the RTD N-Line grand opening with a couple of my fellow council members and the mayor. So that was a really great experience. I was glad that I got to be a part of that. And I'm really excited for the opportunities that it's going to open up for our community. So hopefully everybody can get out there and ride the N-Line. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Downing.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple things. I also attended a couple ribbon cuttings this past 2 weeks, one for the Golden Blade, and they were very excited to open their shop, their new shop. And then the other one was for Office Evolutions, and they definitely have just a very unique office space up in the Grant building, renting to different businesses if they need to have a little office space there. So it's more like a incubator type situation. It's very cool. So I was really excited to attend that. Did attend the 50th anniversary for the Elks. They are in the building over on Irma Drive, and they've been located in Northland Thornton for over 50 years, actually. So they had some of their charter members there, and they were just really, really excited to have that event. So very interested, and my husband and I enjoyed ourselves. And then we did have our ward meeting last week, and I just want to thank all the staff that helped us through it. We had a little technical glitch, and of course, Becky was the host conducting it, and her screen froze just like yours did, but she was actually knocked off, so staff picked it up and helped me through the rest of it and got us all back online. So I appreciate everybody that helped that night. So thank you so much. That's all for me.
I'm just looking at my grid. Councilmember Goff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a couple of things. I did attend the monthly Anythink Library board meeting, and there are a couple of things that they talked about that people might be interested in. One is that the board, the Anythink board, passed a resolution to support Amendment B, which is the one to repeal some of the restrictions of the Gallagher Amendment, because otherwise they're going to be losing a lot of revenue for next year. So that was something that they discussed quite a bit. And also, Rocky Mountain PBS is doing an educational enrichment program where they'll have shows on their television channel, and Anythink Library can print out materials that would go along with these educational programs. So this is their effort it's a partnership with PBS to provide extra education for students who maybe don't have the internet connections that we all wish they did. So they can get some of that experience and from PBS television and materials from Anythink Libraries. And I think those are probably the two big things from the library. I did attend the N-Line opening. That was exciting. And the two ribbon cuttings that Councilmember Downing talked about, it's always a great opportunity to get out and see new businesses and the excitement and the energy that they bring to our community. And then I was asked, I've got a couple of things. I did attend a presentation last week put on by the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. And that was just an introductory kind of explanation of where things stand here in Colorado. And it is most of their data and information is from the Denver metro area. We kind of fall into that category. But there was a lot of really good information for that we'll be able to share with our homelessness task force. And then it's that time of year coming up. We have a food drive coming up, and we also have a clothing drive. I don't know how well this will work, but there will be drop boxes at City Hall, the Rec Center, the M&O facility building, and the Judicial Center for cold weather clothing that Northglenn is going to be sponsoring with the Northglenn Community Foundation, the City of Northglenn, and Northglenn Thornton Rotary Club. So that's coming up, and we also have coming up on October 24th is just a one-day drop-off for food items at the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints here in Northglenn. And so they're asking for all kinds of specific food items, some non-food items. And if you have need further information, you can contact me. I'm not sure who else would be a good contact person, but I also got another list with information on that. So get a hold of me if you need to know more. And that is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Duran Mullica.
All right, thank you so much. So I actually want to go back to what Randall was saying earlier about the horns and RTD. I heard about that a lot as well. So just wanted to follow up with that and just say, yes, if we are still hearing horns, people know they should have stopped as of last Monday. So if that's still an issue, please let us know. You could also reach out to your RTD director, which is Vince Busick. So he could be a great guy to reach out to as well. A couple other updates. This coming week, I'm going to be sitting on an I-270 working group that's starting up. So I'm sure folks have probably heard or at least hoped that CDOT would get around to working on 270 because it is a hot mess in both directions every single day. And so there's a working group that's going to start focusing on, and talking about what does this project look like, and where do we see managed lanes in this process, and most importantly, where's the money for the managed lanes going after that? So what we're hoping to do, as in I'm talking about other elected officials in the North, we're hoping to get that money to help work on the other significant safety issue we have, which is around 84th and I-25. So as anybody going south knows, it's very likely that you will hit an accident right at 84th. And that happened once they added the new managed lane. It kind of narrowed that whole section. And there's not even a shoulder anywhere in there. So it's a disaster when there's an accident. So we're hoping to still advocate to keep that on top of CDOT's radar, and hoping 270 can help us get where we need to be with that. So we did have a NADA meeting last week, and we did have a great presentation from the Front Range Passenger Rail Group. So anybody who's interested in where passenger rail might look like in Colorado, check out frontrangepassengerrail.com, and you'll see the organization's website and their map of proposed rail projects that they're kind of looking at doing. There's a passenger rail that goes essentially from Pueblo to Fort Collins, and maybe even through Longmont and Boulder. So they're coming along. It's been great to kind of see how this group evolves, and they're looking at doing some legislation next year to make themselves the first rail district, if you will, in the metro area. So that was exciting to hear about. And then other than that, I think it's just been great to have the fall weather come, and I'm really celebrating the change. I'm a huge fall person, so I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to what the winter brings us. So thanks so much, everybody. Good to see you.
Councilmember Escobar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have two items. The Northland Senior Organization met virtually this week, and I attended that, and they're anxious for the new center to wrap up and they can start getting involved. They obviously, COVID has created a unique situation for our seniors. So they're hoping that this thing will get past us and they can get on with the life they used to enjoy. I also attended the inline virtual dedication. I thought it was awesome. And Mayor, you hit it out of the park. You were awesome in there. So I was real proud. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Wilford.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll be providing the Legislative Committee meeting update this evening. We met earlier and received a brief budget update from our lobbying team, Ed and Jennifer. They noted that on September 18th, the Joint Budget Committee received an economic and revenue forecast. And as a reminder, this past spring, it was necessary for the Joint Budget Committee, which we lovingly call JBC, to make a $3.3 billion cuts to the state budget. And looking ahead, revenues were higher than anticipated, which means that there shouldn't be any additional cuts necessary to balance the budget. However, looking ahead at the 2022 budget, it's expected that there will be an additional $1.6 billion worth of cuts needed in order to make that budget work. So we're still seeing some pretty significant impacts from COVID. After we received an update from Ed and Jennifer, we took a deeper dive into reviewing our legislative issues guide. As a reminder, this is the document that we use every year in order to guide which bills we take a position on, whether support, oppose, or monitor. And I think we're going to be in pretty great shape. You all will have the opportunity to review that document before it is sent to the printers. And then I also wanted to note that Ed and Jennifer are going to be joining our next meeting to provide a full briefing on all of the ballot measures that you'll see on your ballot, because there are many and they're very complicated. So we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to ask questions and feel like they're informed before they cast their vote. Our next meeting will be on October 12th, and you'll hear from Randall then. The only other two announcements I wanted to share is that Friday will be the CC4CA October board meeting. So I'll be planning to attend that on behalf of Northglenn. And then I just wanted to take a moment to wish Adams 12 educators, students, and parents the very best of luck. Many students will be transitioning from remote learning and going to in-person learning. Some students will be continuing to move forward in remote, but all in all, I know that it's a tricky time to be a parent, a student, or an educator, and I just hope that the transitions go extremely well. And I'll just share that this year, the motto that Studio School is using, which is where my son is going, is "We've got this," and I certainly think that we do. So best of luck to everybody who's sending their kids back. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All right, so I have a list. I don't want to forget things. I was also at the Golden Blade ribbon cutting. I recommend that everyone give it a shot, especially after all the COVID time when there's, at least my son could really use a haircut. So, but that seems like a really great place. So we're definitely going to try it out. So I don't know if everyone knows, but every week, Tri-County, the director, Dr. Douglas, he meets with Adams County mayors and does a really nice job of kind of giving us a weekly update on what's going on. And, you know, it's just a nice, intimate opportunity to answer questions and ask unique questions. He presents Adams County data. So that's something that we really appreciate. It's keeping us really up to speed on that. I also attended the, I'm trying to think of how they're calling the new acronym, AC REP. We don't know. It's the Adams County Regional Economic Partnership. New name, new acronym, and it's a great organization. We had the executive committee meeting this week. We did vote, so I'm not quite sure if you recall when we had this conversation, I took on the mayor's liaison role for this executive committee. It was meant to be just a one-year position. The board is going to stay the same. I'm going to stay on it. We voted on that feeling like because of the transition, because of the COVID impact and the economic, changes that have been happening, we're going to do one more year. So I will still represent our city on that executive committee. So when we met, as you recall, Susan Stanton was part of our executive committee. So we did take some time to honor her again. That is a significant loss. So that was part of our meeting. The broader board of directors meeting on Thursday, I will be attending, and the governor will also be joining us. So, and our own Debbie Tuttle is a great representative on that board of directors for the city as well. I wanted to mention, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, but part of my week was taking part in the interviews for the diversity board. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Met so many cool residents that are just brilliant. So I'm very excited about what's coming up, but also just the process. And I wanted to thank Rupa, the assistant to the city manager, for her organization of that process, her facilitation, and really, helping guide us through it as a council. She did a lot of work behind the scenes, and I really appreciate it. So I'm excited about that. And then with all things N-Line, that was an amazing event. And I wanted to thank our city staff. They did such a nice job. And I really feel like they went above and beyond to make that event special. There was live music, the artists were honored, the speakers were organized, just the whole entire thing. It was a lovely, socially distanced, masked event that really, gave us the opportunity to cut the ribbon on something we've been waiting for a long time. And then also thank you to RTD and their staff, because as we rode the train to the East Lake Station, there was a much bigger event, and it was also well organized. And just kind of a shout out to my fellow colleagues, Mayor Coleman and Mayor Huseman from Commerce City and Thornton. They also had station openings that day. So it was a beautiful event, and the train is pretty cool. And I do know, because I live on the N line, I can hear the horns as well. So that's something we need to look at. They're not going nearly as often as they were during the testing phase, but we probably should take a look. But as someone who, has been waiting, they put that sign up that said coming in 2018, and I drove by it every day and I could not wait. And in 2018 came and went. And so it was really exciting, and I've ridden on it multiple times. Took my son on it this weekend. We went downtown. But to Mayor Pro Tem's point, in-person school started, and the coolest thing is my kiddo can ride the train to school. Like, how cool is that? So it was absolutely amazing. And so I'm very thankful for the N-Line. That is all I had. But before I go to staff, I wanted to let Councilmember Duran Mullica, she missed something.
I did miss something, and it's very, very, very important, because it's also about the N-Line and its opening and how excited we are. So I just wanted to just take a quick moment and pause and just think about where we're at today. So in 2004 is when Fast Track was approved by voters. So 2004, think about where you were in 2004. I was graduating high school in 2004. And now we finally got our N-Line. I just want to point out the fact that the N-Line still would never have happened if it wasn't for great local advocates who continued to push and push for the N-Line to open. And we are lucky enough to have Miss Joyce Downing, who has been one of those titans who has made the N-Line happen. It was never going to happen, even though we approved it.
Oh, we lost Julie.
I lost you. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah, there you are.
Okay, good. Yay. All right. But it happened because of local advocates continuing to push, and Joyce Downing was that advocate for the city of Northland. So thank you, Joyce, for all of your hard work, your decades long of advocacy. We could not be here today without you.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So let's see. Joanna, do you have anything tonight?
I do have one quick item. At the last Outside Agency Funding Committee meeting, the committee approved a sponsorship for the Food Bank of the Rockies. They're having what they're calling the Bringing Hope to the Virtual Table event. It's not for a couple weeks. It's going to be held on Saturday, October 10th. It starts at 6:30 p.m. It's a completely virtual event. However, it does include dinner. It also includes a program, a silent auction, a comedy performance. So if any council members are interested in attending the virtual event, check your calendars. And then in the meantime, I'll send out more details by email so that you can see if that works with your schedule. And then please just let either myself or Susan Baca know if you're interested in attending the event, and we'll make sure to get everybody RSVP'd for that. And that is all I have.
Awesome. Corey, what about you?
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. City Manager Geyer.
Thank you, Mayor Lighty. A quick reminder that this year's National Night Out event is on. It's going to look different. We have 8 parks with food trucks set up. So feel free to mark your calendar for Tuesday, October 6th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. Again, 8 park locations. So if you're like me, you're probably going to pick your park location based on your favorite food truck. We've got a wide variety. Usually we do a sweet and savory food truck option. So feel free to come out, bring a blanket, enjoy time at the park. It definitely is getting to be cooler weather. Make sure to bring your mask and socially distance, but use the night as a way to come out, interact with our police department, and say hello to neighbors and friends. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. All right, we're moving into the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Joanna, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Lighty,
Here. Oh, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem
Yes.
Wilford, Councilmember Whitkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Downing,
Yes.
Councilmember Goff,
Yes.
Councilmember Duran Malika,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
I will close that vote and the consent agenda passes unanimously.
I need to get more sleep, just so you know. Yes, I am here. And yes, that was a yes. Oh, I apologize. Okay. Moving into public hearing, CB 1952. Joanna, will you read the title?
A bill for an ordinance amending Chapter 8 of the Northglenn Municipal Code regarding certain municipal court fees and costs.
I will now open the public hearing on CB 1952. Joanna, do we have any comments or is anyone signed up to speak?
I don't have any emails or text messages. I don't see any unidentified callers on the phone line either, so I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Ordinances on second reading, CB 1952. So we are moving right in there. Same thing, municipal court fees update. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Judge Bailhash, welcome. Would you like to provide a summary?
I don't have much of an update from the first reading. The basis for the municipal court fees updates is in response to changes in legislation. And then as I was going through looking at the legislation, looking at some fees that have not been updated in several years, and then looking at some of the way that sentences are being imposed, that the addition of supervision fees or unsupervised probation supervision fees would be appropriate.
Okay, is there any discussion or do you have questions? Okay, Joanna, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Lighty,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Downing,
Yes.
Councilmember Goff,
Yes.
Councilmember Duran Malika,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
I will close that vote and CB 1952 on second reading passes unanimously.
Moving into ordinances on first reading, CB 1953. Joanna, will you read the title, please?
A bill for an ordinance repealing and reenacting Articles 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 16, and 17 of Chapter 10 of the Northglenn Municipal Code, amending Article 15 of Chapter 10 of the Northglenn Municipal Code, and adding new Article 21 of the Northglenn Municipal Code, adopting by reference the International Building Code 2018 edition, the National Electrical Code 2017 edition, the International Plumbing Code 2018 edition, the International Fire Code 2018 edition, the International Mechanical Code 2018 edition, the International Fuel Gas Code 2018 edition, the International Residential Code 2018 edition, the International Energy Conservation Code 2018 edition, the International Property Maintenance Code 2018 edition, the International Existing Building Code 2018 edition, and the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code 2018 edition, and amending the Uniform Code for Abatement of Dangerous Buildings 1997 edition.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
That was a mouthful. Thank you very much. So we have a motion. We have Brooke here, Director of Planning and Development. Would you like to add anything to that?
Other than that's probably the longest title you will ever see on an ordinance that I will put forth. And Joanna, I apologize because you'll have to read it one more time. What we're doing here is we're basically taking the suite of building codes and updating them from the current version of the 2009s to the 18s. As we move forward from the 18s, we'll likely be revisiting this every 6 years. It will be my recommendation as opposed to every 3 years when they typically do update. But with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
I don't see any questions. Thank you for being here. Joanna, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Leidy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitkovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson?
Yes.
Councilmember Downing?
Yes.
Councilmember Goff?
Yes.
Councilmember Duran Malika?
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar?
Yes.
I will close that vote, and CB 1953 on first reading passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, moving into resolutions, CR 129. Joanna, will you read the title?
A resolution appointing members to the Diversity, Inclusivity, and Social Equity Board for the City of Northglenn, Colorado.
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. So I am hoping that we have our members on the line. Joanna, can you tell? Yes? Fantastic. Okay, so I am going to announce each person's name. We'll start with Ward 1. And as you hear your name, if you just want to take a minute and introduce yourself and say hello to council, and then we'll move into the next one. So starting with Ward 1, we have Wesley Dunbar. Is Wesley here? Hi.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to serve on the diversity board. It was nice to interview with Randy and Ashley, and I was really zoomed out that day, and they were gracious and kind to me. I had been like 7 hours of Zoom, so but it was good. On a side note, but a note of put a feather in your cap. I was at a district attorney meet and greet, and there were two county commissioners and a wannabe county commissioner there, and they all three heartily agreed that Northglenn is the star of Adams County. And I just said, oh, okay. So, and I told them about the diversity board and the decision that was forthcoming on that one. So good to be with you.
Excellent. Welcome. Second Ward 1 member, I have M. Celeste Jackson. Are you on the line?
She is. I think she's trying to connect.
Okay. No, it's okay. We'll wait.
So she's not able to connect. She did just send me a text message, so I see her on. But she did want to say that she is enthusiastic and really excited to be part of the board.
Nice. Awesome. Well, welcome. Ward 2, Sheryl Huffman. Hi.
Hi. I'm Sheryl Huffman. Excuse me. I am excited to be part of the board as well. I thought it was a great idea when I saw the flyer come out. And so I applied, and I'm just grateful to be able to do something positive, hopefully. So I'm excited to be there.
Awesome. Welcome. The second Ward 2, Everett Renberg. Everett, are you with us?
So Everett had to work, but he did send in his statements, which I will read right now. Good evening, City Council, my future Diversity Board colleagues, and the greater Northland community. I am so very excited to again participate in a public committee that is dedicated to the empowerment of the community. If you recall, I've been in front of council before for my mission into the Northland Youth Committee and for the committee's work. My determination and passion for the community is still aflame with sincerity and vigor. I do, however, apologize for my absence from this meeting as I have to work. Just know that I will work hard for this board and for this community. Thank you and have a great evening.
Nice. Okay. Ward 3, we have Chase Janice. Hello.
Hello. Janice, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're 100% okay. Literally nobody gets it correct. So, yes, hello. I'm going to do a little introduction in Lakota, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Ha, Chase Janice e Machiapi, Lakomi Shaje, Olowan Wapia, Ogolala Lakota, Oyate Mie, Shante Washte, Nape Cheo Zapo. So that basically means, hello, my name is Chase Janice, and they call me Medicine Song. I am from the Ogallala Lakota Nation, and I greet you all with a good heart and a handshake. I am a college student at MSU Denver, studying sociology and environmental science. And I've lived in Colorado my whole life. I've always wanted to be more involved with my community. And I really look forward to working with you all to make Northglenn an even more inclusive and diverse place. So thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm going to let Celeste Jackson say hello. I'm going to back up for just a minute because we now have connection. Hello.
I think she's muted.
Yeah, I think. Oh, hello. Unmuted.
Okay.
Would you like to say hello?
Celeste, can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Maybe we're muted on her end. Technology, it's so fun. Well, Rupa, do you want to text her? And I'm going to move ahead. Okay, our second Ward 3 member is Lucille Rivera. Lucille, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good, welcome.
Well, I'll do a quick introduction. I'm Lucille Rivera, and I have lived in Northland for about 8 or 9 years. I'm actually a Denver native. I am a Native American, Portuguese, French, and Spanish. I have been involved in the art community my whole life. I'm a photographer, and I've worked in nonprofits my whole life. And when I saw this opportunity to apply for this board, I was so excited because I just retired from an art gallery where I was a director in Denver, and I love the arts. So I'm hoping that we can create more art here in Northland, because we have such beautiful artwork out in the community. But I would hope at some point we may consider an art gallery within the Northland area. So thank you very much. I'm very honored to be part of this board, and I'm very passionate about being here. Thank you once again.
Nice, welcome. Celeste, can you hear us?
If she can't hear anything, let me see if she can just go ahead and talk.
Hello?
Hi.
Okay, I get the impression you guys can hear me, but I can't hear you at all.
Right.
I'm Celeste Jackson, and I am really pleased to be able to join you this evening. I'm not sure if I was asked a question, but I know that the instruction was to introduce myself. I am in Ward 1. Professionally, I was a strategic communicator and also a diversity officer for Iowa School of Theology and Denver Public Library. So I'm no stranger to city government kinds of opportunities and have long used my skills to help bridge gaps, make connections, and help people to, if you will, achieve their full potential. So I am glad to be here and hopeful that I can lend my skills and connections in a way that will help the city of Northland.
Thank you. Okay, moving into Ward 4, we have Christina Fischel. No? Okay. We also have Autumn Romero. Hi, Autumn. So we can't quite hear you, but you're not muted on my end. It's okay. It happens. That's okay. No, but I'm good at reading your lips. You said, can you hear me at all? Nice. She's excited to join this group. Thank you for being here. Okay, one of our at-large members, Rory Moore. Hi, Rory.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here and good evening, everyone. I'm just so thankful just because, so I used to be a Northland resident. I've lived in Northland like majority of my life. I just recently moved to Thornton. But just to be an at-large member, I bring a public health justice framework, so really rooted in diversity, equity, inclusion. So I hope to help foster that within this board. I'm a Northland High School alumni, so I graduated in 2013, and I even served on the Northland Youth Commission back in 2012 through 2013. So this is awesome. This is my roots. I'm just happy to be here and give back to my community. So thank you all for allowing me to be here. I am Afro-Hispanic and non-binary. So I hope to also bring that racial and gender diversity lens as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
the second at-large member is Sarah Woodson. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and Northland residents. I'm very honored and privileged because this is an at-large position. Currently, I serve as the Community Relations Director for Be Good MMJ. And I do a lot of other stuff too, which I'll run through the list. I'm also the Legal Redress Chair of the Denver NAACP chapter. I sit on the Denver African American Commission Board, which is appointed by the mayor. And then I'm the executive director of a nonprofit organization called The Color of Cannabis. And all the work that I do focuses around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So when I saw this opportunity, I was like, oh my God. Can you guys hear me still?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. So when I saw the opportunity, I was like, that's right up my alley. I'm definitely excited about having conversations around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how those policies and procedures can be put in place to create more of all those three things in Northglenn. So I look forward to working with the board, to working with council and the mayor, and just bringing the overall goal, which is to have more diversity, equity, inclusion into the city. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and finally, our at-large youth member, I think it's Rihanna Blackman.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Rihanna Blackman, and I am a Northland High School student. I have a lot of diversity in my school, which I love to become a leader within. So I am a link leader, I am part of the National Honor Society, and I'm a student council member. So I am very involved in my school, and I just saw the opportunity to bring that out into my community. So I'm very excited to be on the board member, and it's so good to meet you guys.
Thanks for being here. Good to see you. So it was lovely to have all of the members join us that were able or to send in a statement. Is there any discussion from council? I have council member, oh, sorry. Council member Goff raised her hand.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
That's okay. Council member Goff.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I just wanted to thank everyone who applied for the board. It was amazing that we had so many interested residents, and it was really, really difficult to choose. We had so many qualified candidates. I mean, we could probably have done a whole nother board. So thank you for all the people who came tonight. I look forward to working with you. And those who didn't make the board this time around, there will be other opportunities. There'll be other openings and other ways that you can connect with the city and help us move forward on this project or whatever project we decide we're going to work on. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Duran-Mullica.
Okay, now I'm ready. I just want to say, just kind of echoing what Catherine said, it's been fantastic. This whole process has just been a lot of fun, not only to get to meet all of the people that we were able to interview and get to read about in their applications about why this is something that they're passionate about. So it's just been a great journey through this whole process. And I'm excited to get this group together to see what, great work comes out of this amazing group of people. So I'm just excited about the whole process and just thank you guys all for being here, applying, interviewing, going through the whole process. I know a lot of people were nervous to the interview, but it was great to have you all and meet you all. So thanks everyone for your time and commitment to this.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford.
I feel like I'm just echoing everything that Council Members Goff and Mullica said. I'm just tremendously excited about this group and really thankful to everybody who threw their hat in the ring, went through the interview process, and who are now willing to serve and help shape the direction that the city of Northland goes. It's tremendous, it's important, and I'm so excited. I also want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everybody, especially in Ward 4 who applied. I think that we had somewhere between 11 and 13 applicants. And I can't speak for my colleague, Councilmember Escobar, but it was so hard, first and foremost, to narrow it down to just 5 folks to interview, and then to narrow it down again to 2 folks, because we just had a tremendous amount of passion, of talent, a diversity of perspectives and lived experiences. And I just, to know that we have that many residents out there who are interested in getting engaged and moving this work forward just means a lot to me. And I wish, this new commission or task force board, sorry, I'm terrible with the names. I just wish you all the best of luck. I'm really excited to see what you do. And thanks for serving.
Thank you. So I had mentioned during communications how excited I was and what a pleasant experience it was So, I can echo what our other council members have said. I hope that you are as excited about it. I think you are based on the interviews, but the full team is pretty amazing. And so you also have Rupa Venkatesh, our assistant to the city manager, as the staff liaison, and Councilmember Goff as the council liaison. So that is a well-rounded, amazing group of individuals. And I just can't wait to see how you shine. So thank you so much for your service to our city. Joanna, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Leidy,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Councilmember Witkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Downing,
Yes.
Councilmember Goff,
Yes, yes.
Councilmember Duran-Malika,
Yes.
Councilmember Escabel.
Yes.
I will close that vote, and CR 129 passes unanimously.
Awesome. All right, moving into CR 130. Joanna, will you read the title, please?
A resolution approving the 2021 Parks and Recreation user fee schedule.
Move for approval.
Second.
So we have Amanda Peterson here to provide a summary. Hi, Amanda.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. So this year, we are bringing forward our recreation user fee schedule without any proposed changes or increases. As a result of COVID-19 and the impacts that we have seen there and the closure that we've experienced, we did bring forward our recommended fees to our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board last month, and they unanimously supported the recommendation to leave the fees flat for an additional year. This is being brought forward to you as a flat fee because in the municipal code, we are required to bring it forward to council as a recommendation annually prior to September 30th. That's what we're here with tonight, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are.
Does anyone have questions for Amanda or discussion on this item? No, we lost some council friends in the meantime. I'm down to my 9. Okay, well, Joanna, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Leidy,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford,
Yes.
Councilmember Witkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Downing,
Yes.
Councilmember Goff,
Yes.
Councilmember Duran-Malika,
Yes.
Councilmember Escabel,
Yes.
I will close that vote, and CR 130 passes unanimously.
Great. Okay, moving into Amanda's still with us, which is great. CR 131. Joanna, will you read the title?
A resolution authorizing contingency funds for the agreement between the City of Northglenn and Barker Rinker CCAT Architecture for architect and engineering services for the implementation of Phase 1 of the Civic Center Master Plan project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Amanda, can you provide a summary of this item?
Of course. We are requesting an additional $25,000 contingency for the architectural firm who has been working on the new recreation center, senior center, and theater. We started the project with a relatively small contingency of 2.7% of the contract amount. We feel like that has been used very conservatively, and for items that as staff we have added to the scope of the project, not a change in scope as requested by the architectural firm. As we're moving forward, we have one small item we're anticipating to be a change order in the next in the coming weeks in the amount of about $3,500. Rather than bring those to you one at a time, we are requesting an overall project contingency associated with the contract with Barker Rinker CCAT for $25,000 that the city manager would be authorized to sign the change orders leading up to that expenditure amount.
Any questions or discussion for this item? Councilmember Peterson?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor. Amanda, this $25,000, is this because you indicated that we've added to the scope of the project?
Yes. So when we initially began, when I say scope, so the current items, and there is a list of the items in the memo of what we've expended to date, including additional audio visual design that we didn't include in the original project that expanded as we went through and identified needs for long-term needs for the facility. We also added plating and rezoning services. We did change our foundation design to take a more conservative approach and minimize our level of risk on the building long-term, and added sewer flow testing and a modification to the running track. The current change that we are aware of, and the only one we're aware of right now, is we do have a desire to add some additional office space within the existing footprint of the building, what would have been unfinished space, to make sure that we have room for staffing as we go into the future. It was not additionally projected and has a cost of about $3,500 to redesign that space prior to construction being done. So there's no change in construction, but the building, the contractor will be able to continue forward once that space has been redesigned and really added to, because it's currently as unfinished space in the building.
Great, thank you very much. And has the contractor been timely with due dates and benchmarks?
So the contractor, they both have. The contractor and the architect have both been very responsive, and they're working well together.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, Joanna, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Leidy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford?
Yes.
Councilmember Witkovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson?
Yes.
Councilmember Downing?
Yes.
Councilmember Goff?
Yes.
Councilmember Duran Malika?
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar?
Yes.
I will close that vote, and CR 131 passes unanimously.
Okay, moving into CR 132. Joanna, will you read the title, please?
A resolution approving a design build contract between the City of Northland and Browns Hill Engineering and Controls for the lift station SCADA improvements project.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, so Kent Kisselman, our Director of Public Works, is here to provide a summary of this item. Hi, Kent.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having me this evening. So the city, we have all of our lift stations that take all of our sewage up to the wastewater treatment plant. And those are controlled by a supervisory control and data acquisition system, better known as a SCADA system. Currently, our current SCADA system is at its end of its useful life. And we're kind of just barely hanging on. If one of those stations were to go down, we'd have to have a man out there watching it so it wouldn't overflow. And we have 10 stations, and 8 of them are going to be upgraded with the new SCADA system. So this would upgrade those 8 stations to modern standards, and Browns Hill was selected to do the work. And this is a design build project because there's items to get. It wasn't something that we could just design and bid. There's stuff that they're going to get into and find to get. I'm sorry. Once they get into them, there's going to be other things that they find that we're going to need to look at. So this is going to be a complete design of the new system, and it'll be a new cloud-based SCADA system as well. And we'll have a monthly subscription charge similar to what we already have. They're on board, and they'll be ready to complete this work by the end of the year. And with that, Attached is Council Resolution 132, a resolution that, if approved, would authorize the mayor and to execute a contract between the city and Browns Hill Engineering and Controls for design and build of the lift station SCADA improvements project in an amount not to exceed $180,664, and authorizes the city manager on behalf of the city to approve minor changes in the scope of services and execute relevant change orders up to the approved expenditure limit of $189,697.20. And we recommend approval of this resolution. And I'll answer any questions you have.
Any questions or discussion from council? Okay, Joanna, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Leidy,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Downing,
Yes.
Councilmember Goff,
Yes.
Councilmember Duran Malika,
Yes.
Councilmember Escabel.
Yes.
I will close that vote, and CR 132 passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. So moving into discussion items, the first one, Amanda Peterson is back to talk about our Northglenn Civic Center Master Plan Phase 1 September update. Hello.
Hello. So you just heard a little bit. I'm going to give you the short part of the typical report, which is the project continues to move forward on budget and on schedule. So that's all really good news. Do you think you would be able to share your screen, Mayor Leidy?
Yes.
You want to try it? Because that's really the exciting part that I was hoping to share with you tonight.
Yeah, I think I should be good. Let's see.
While she's pulling it up, the newest piece of information that I have to share with you is actually the concept drawings for the lobby sculpture. So I was hoping we could take a quick look, and this is your first glance at the very large sculptural element that will be going into above the lobby in the new right outside the new theater. So the piece is by Mark Ayling. He was selected by a committee from the Northland Arts and Humanities Foundation, and then they have been working with him to fine-tune his design. If you'd like to move on to the next slide. The piece is inspired by the columbine as the state flower. And I'll let you move on to the next one. And it's called Illumination. So it is each of those flowers, each individual piece. This center one is about 8 feet in diameter and hangs 9 feet from the ceiling. And then each of the surrounding 5 pieces is nearly as large. So it'll really make a statement in that space. The Arts and Humanities Foundation did give him approval to move forward with this design. There's some slight tweaks to the colors, but they're very close to what was here in this package. And we are just really excited to be able to have a unique sculptural element in that new space. Mark has been working very well with FCI as our contractor and VRS as the architect to make sure that that design is integrated into the building and that they're able to complete that installation as seamlessly as possible. I think there's one more slide if you'd like to move into that. So that is how that will look in the space. It really is a very large piece and will be very visible from both outside and inside our new theater lobby. So that was the most exciting news I wanted to share with you tonight. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
That's so cool.
That's more fun than construction schedules.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. Wow, sorry. That was just me gushing. Does anyone else have anything to say? I'm like, oh. Councilmember Downing.
I just want to share, it's been so difficult not to share some of these things that we've been walking through because I was told that I would not be allowed even in a meeting if I shared any information. But it's been so exciting, and the board is so exciting. They pick the colors and the designs and work so well with the artist. I mean, it's been very exciting.
Councilmember Goff.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes, I just want to echo the sentiments I've heard so far. It's beautiful. It's going to be amazing in that space. And if you haven't gotten your Northglenn connection, there's a big article about it in there with some photos as well. So residents, look for that. It's going to be amazing.
I got mine today. Cool. Anybody have any other comments? Oh, Amanda, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a great night.
Bye. Okay, next item, we have City Manager Geyer for the Community Co-Production Policing implementation. So I have a presentation. All right, I will turn it over to you. I know we had spoke a little bit just facilitation wise. We want to get through the whole thing. So a tip for council maybe to jot down your notes if you have questions along the way. It's also easier because I can't see them popping up. So we'll let her get through it. And then when we get to the questions slide, we'll be ready to rock. So Heather, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Leidy. I also have Chief May with me here tonight, who's going to co-present with me. So if you'll go ahead and advance to the second slide. The purpose of why we're here this evening is to provide follow-up to the August 12th session that we had with City Council, where we had presented 4 different options to City Council, or models, if you will. Those are listed here. I won't repeat those. I will say that the hybrid model, the 4th option that was presented, as a reminder, was one that I recommended to council. If you decide to move forward with some type of board, we recommend the hybrid model because that model most aligns with community co-production policing, also known as CCPP. I know that's a mouthful. Depending on the outcome of tonight, maybe at some point we can work on the naming nomenclature if council desires. But the hybrid model does most align with the CCPP. Next slide. So CCPP was introduced to us by Barry Dunn through the 360 staffing and operational assessment. That was done. We went ahead and put the language from the 360 assessment in this slide as a reminder for the community and for council of how this idea concept was advanced to the city of Northland. So again, I'm not going to read it to you. We've shared it a few times, but certainly this is the impetus for the connection with the hybrid model. And then if you advance to the next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Chief May. Take it away.
All right, Mayor, Council, good evening. So the community co-production policing model, it's an operational philosophy. And that's just, it's like community policing just takes it to the next level. Where it comes from, President Barack Obama created a task force after the Ferguson incident. And so the focus on 21st century policing. And in that document, when they finished it, it's just a couple sentences, but they refer to this philosophy, and it's not a cookie cutter program. It's one of those things that expands the focus of the traditional community-oriented policing model, gives just a greater level of community participation. Next slide, please. Some of the key distinctions between community-oriented policing. Community-oriented policing is based on community partnerships and problem solving. And we use problem solving models to help solve crimes in our community to reduce the fear of crime and reduce crime. What the community co-policing involves a greater level of influence and involvement by the community. So it just takes us reaching out to some of those that feel that they're marginalized in our community, that they don't have a voice. We want to make sure as a police department we bring them to the table. Across our nation right now, we're seeing the environment in policing. It calls for some broad and deep reforms. I think we're on the verge of some incredible changes on how we do our job. But again, I think it's very important that we engage our community. And one of the things that I believe that this will do and help us is build that trust and confidence in your police department. And again, we're going to agree on the processes, procedure, and practices used in pursuit of public safety for those who live in and visit our community. And again, this is accountability piece that we know that we're accountable to our community members. What CCPP is not, it's not a traditional approach to policing. It's a new approach. We're not taking some things, I've heard oversight in some of those committees. However, those, they have oversight in some of the cities that are having the biggest problems in our nation right now. What this does, it's more interactive with our community members. It's not an approach to defund the police or change resources. As you know, in that plan as well, it showed where we're actually we need more resources. It's also not a one size fits all, and I talked about that. It's not a cookie cutter approach. What happens is we bring our community members together at the table, and we come up on some best ways to police our residents. So one of the things that we're trying to do in the goals is, next slide, I'm sorry, proposed Northland goals. So we want to reduce fractionalism. And that's right now, again, talking about nationally, we want to make sure we reduce and correct the inharmonious separation which has occurred between our community members and those responsible for policing them. We want to create transparency, no more secrecy in accountability or policy making or determining strategies to address or reduce crime. We want to make sure that we engage our community members. And balancing the influence. Those who police the community must have authority to do so. Our police department governance should be a shared responsibility. And some of the outcomes that we want from this is to increase the community trust, because the community shares decisional authority in a substantive policing way. It will have shared ownership over the results, enhance public safety. It'll trust in the cornerstone to solving crimes. And when trust is established, people will more readily assist in public safety matters affecting them. That's the reporting side of it. Improve racial diversity and equity. Diverse partnerships lead to greater understanding, which in turn changes perspectives, beliefs, and behaviors. So we're working together to provide a more inclusive community. Next slide, please. And again, this is not an easy thing to do, but Barry Dunn felt that we have a very strong foundation, and they actually refer to this in their report, that because of this is why they feel that we can actually take on this huge project and make that difference in our community. So currently the department has several strengths that were identified by Barry Dunn Associates. The department has established a strong commitment to community-oriented policing and community engagement. The department is serving the community well despite staffing and other operational challenges. Staff have a strong commitment to the policing profession and a loyalty to the Northland Police Department and the city of Northland. Next slide. So, some of the strengths that we can build on and make better. We have a department, they identified the strong ethics within our department. At all levels within the department, we want to see improvement. We want to see better relationships, within our community. We have a brand new building, state of our facility. We have incredible equipment. City Council just, with the addition of body cams coming in January, that also helps with our accountability piece to our community and the transparency. And they also, witness the incredible reputation and relationships we already have within our community. Next one. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Chief May. And so in response to council's request for additional information, I synthesized the requests and have them here. We had been asked by council to continue to move forward with the prioritization of the 45 recommendations, and that work is underway, and I can certainly touch more on that in a little bit. There were some questions about what could additional community engagement look like, and so I've woven those pieces in the 3 different options that are being presented to you tonight. And then impacts to staff, budget, and the city overall, those are also woven into the different, the 3 recommendations that are in front of you. Next slide. And so one of the things as we've been on this journey together in talking about CCPP is an effort to really simplify what CCPP is in terms of explaining it to residents, to members within our police department, our community as a whole. And so one of the things that I think helps each of us wrap our head around what CCPP is to recognize that it's organizational change. It would be organizational change for us. So as Chief May explained, CCPP is an operational philosophy, and currently we work with community-oriented policing philosophy. So we would be making a conscious shift from community-oriented policing to community co-production policing. And as Chief May mentioned, there were several strengths that were identified through our 360 process, and CCPP does build on those strengths. This work is unique. I can tell you in conversations with my peers across the country and world, really through the ICM Executive Board, as well as my peers here locally, this work has not been done. It's, Chief May and I are intentionally advancing options that does not involve a cookie cutter approach. We can certainly go that route, but it's not recommended. And the hybrid model captures that uniqueness and gives us the ability and flexibility to really design something that's representative of our community. And I believe strongly that in doing so, there's more ownership and buy-in by our residents and ultimately better outcomes for them as well. So this is a forward-looking approach to assessing public safety services holistically. Next slide, Mayor. Because this involves organizational change and thinking about how we've done things and really looking towards how we want to move forward and do things in the future, it's an opportunity to identify gaps and opportunities, as I mentioned, to create meaningful change within the department and to have real impacts throughout the community in terms of how our public safety services are viewed and to address those residents within our community that feel marginalized and have experienced treatment that they would have liked to have been otherwise. So this is going to be a real opportunity to align resources and services based on the desires of the community and best practices. And I think it's important to echo, as Chief May mentioned, that CCPP was a concept advanced under the Obama administration in the 21st Century Policing Task Force. But organizations, I've had several conversations with Mitch Weinzel, with Barry Dunn, have taken on this work. But it's really important that an organization be positioned to take on this work. And that starts with one of our strengths, which is the community-oriented policing strength and focus that we have here in Northglenn. Next slide. So what we've done is we've put together 3 approaches or options. I'm interchanging those words, so bear with me. And so the first approach, and you see the various columns, so I'll walk council through these, and then certainly we'll wrap up the presentation and take time for questions. So the first approach is to operationalize the CCPP philosophy. This has little commitment by residents. It could involve minimal community engagement. Really doesn't, as we've designed it, involve any type of resolution or ordinance demonstrating council's policy commitment. The time frame would be ongoing. And you know by the memorandum that was put forth to you this evening that this operationalizing of the philosophy is something that we'll move forward with regardless of whether or not, say, approach 2 or 3 are selected by council. Chief May and I have had several conversations and believe strongly that CCPP is a direction that we need to move forward in. And so the outcome or cost that we've identified with this particular approach includes continued work on prioritization of the 45 recommendations, which will then lead to the development and implementation of a new strategic plan. And so I'm requesting council support for Barry Dunn to assist us with the technical guidance and work around that. I'm also requesting change management services with Barry Dunn in the amount of $23,000 to assist with the work to help us do work that we haven't done before, this organization has not done before, and to keep the work moving forward based on everything in terms of other priorities that we have going on right now. So that overall approach cost is approximately $39,000. The second option that we've put forth for City Council's consideration is a task force option. This would be a short term with a minimal commitment by residents. We get community engagement. This is where you would see more community engagement. So that would be short term, also minimal, but facilitated by Barry Dunn. And so Barry Dunn has advanced the idea of 3 community engagement sessions. And I'll mention who the project team will be in a couple of slides forward. We've previously shared that information, but I'll revisit it. And then the policy commitment by council would be via a resolution. And this would be more of an immediate short-term time frame that would be designed. I'd bring that information back to City Council if you're interested in this option. And so this option would include an additional $18,000 for the community listening sessions, and that would be based on work that Barry Dunn would do. So the total investment that council would be making would be $57,000. The third approach is an advisory board. And this, we believe, would be a long-term, fully invested commitment by residents of Northglenn. It would be ongoing, and the work to kick off the board would be done by Barry Dunn in collaboration with Chief May, command staff, and as well as myself. This advisory board would be stood up via an ordinance similar to what council has moved forward with the diversity, inclusivity, and social equity board work. This is a long-term investment. And I believe, the full outcome of this approach would be complete or full CCPP implementation. I'm sorry, I mixed that up. And the cost would be approximately $57,000 in keeping with the second approach that we shared. So if you move to the next slide, Mayor. The project team that we've previously shared that would be, that's been put together and proposed by Mitch to assist us with this work would the work would be overseen by Mitch in working with myself, Chief May, and Commander Waltz. And then Rick Brown, and then if you go to the other slide, next slide, Gloria Reyes. These are the 2 key individuals that would be involved with working with the community engagement sessions along with the board or the task force option. So Michelle Kennedy will also be involved, and you can see we tried to highlight the qualities that each of them bring to the project team. So these would be the 4 key individuals involved. And you can see that Gloria, and if you go back to the other slide, Mayor, Rick Brown, they both have a strong law enforcement background at state and local levels, and have been involved in helping organizations move forward different initiatives such as these. If you go to the next slide, work in progress. So I mentioned earlier, we're in the process of prioritizing the 45 recommendations. And so the work that got kicked off about a month ago consists of this detail. A group of us met for a full day, and then Chief May, as well as several other of his commanders and other staff, have been carrying forward that work, identifying objectives and goals for each recommendation, development of outcome measures, outlined proposed action steps, a review of action steps with internal stakeholders, and then finalization of the action steps for each recommendation. So we're making progress on that work. Next slide. So one of the things that I mentioned in the memo and outlined in the 3 options is overall change management assistance. And given all of the initiatives underway, not only on my plate, as well as Chief May's plate in moving forward command staff restructuring, implementation of body worn cameras and dash cameras, continuing efforts to get fully staffed with officers. I really believe strongly that we need technical assistance through Barry Dunn to help us on this journey. So that's why you have the different options and amounts included with the ask tonight. Next slide. We touched on the strategic plan a little bit last council meeting when some great suggestions were made about things to think about with the strategic plan and how the department strategic plan will fit into the overall city council strategic plan. And so also asking for funding for technical assistance in development of the strategic plan for the department. It's important to note it will be a multi-year strategy. There's a lot amongst the 45 recommendations, and it's going to take time, at least a good 3 to 5 years, I believe, to implement those recommendations, which is a normal implementation schedule for this type of work that's being done. And staff will develop a communications and engagement strategy around the department strategic plan. And based on any direction that we get from council tonight, we'll also build a communications plan around next steps and how to move forward. So on the next slide, staff outlined 3 options, and I've revisited the cost here. Option 1 will cost approximately $39,000. Options 2 and 3, approximately $57,000. And myself, Chief May, were recommending option 3 to City Council, which is to move forward with setting up a CCPP advisory board. And with that, Mayor, I will turn it over to questions, and Chief May and I are both here to answer those.
Hello. Do we have comments for City Manager Geyer or Chief May? Councilmember Duran-Mullica?
Sure, I have a couple questions. So one thing, Heather, just trying to think about, well, I guess first of all, thank you so much for putting this together. This is an amazing memo. You could say that, an amazing presentation. I could definitely tell that you and Chief put a lot of work into this and a lot of thought. So definitely appreciate all of your hard work. One question I just had is how how has GARE at all influenced this process? Have you reached out to the GARE folks about this proposal this evening, or do they not really have any kind of recommendations in this area?
They haven't directly been involved. I think Roberto Montoya, our GARE advisor for the public's benefit, is generally aware of the work we're doing. GARE doesn't have a lot of bandwidth to assist us, which is why when I've been speaking with Mitch, and he was able to tap into Rick and Gloria as resources to help us on this journey, and in particular with their law enforcement background and change management that they've done in other organizations, that really appealed to us. So certainly I think there will be a point if council desires to move forward with options 2 or 3, that the work of the diversity board and certainly any guidance or thoughts that Roberto would have through the diversity board work, and then the consultant that we hire to guide us with that diversity board training. There will be an intersection, so to speak. And I think definitely room for collaboration. And we will have multiple advisors to help us down this path.
Okay, great. No, I think that's helpful just to understand how it's all linking together. Another question that I have for you is, I definitely understand that you're going to need help with implementing this, and I appreciate you definitely coming out and saying that and talking about the resources you're going to need. One question I was curious about is, have you looked at other agencies besides Barry Dunn, or are you really confident in Barry Dunn's ability to help with this process and this change that we're looking at doing?
That's a great question. Also a question that I've talked with staff internally about. I'm very confident in Barry Dunn's ability to help us with this work. Number one, because Mitch has been fully invested and has been a tremendous resource as we've gone down this path this summer. Additionally, I know based on the product that we got from Barry Dunn, being a caliber that I know we would not have gotten from the other organizations that submitted through the RFP process for the 360 assessment, I'm confident that we need to continue to work with them.
Okay, great, thank you. And so those are just my 2 questions that I had. Again, thank you guys for your leadership on this, and thank you, Chief, for everything that you've been working on. I can't imagine how much this has been on your plate, but thank you guys for pulling this all together so nicely for us. I appreciate it.
Councilmember Goff.
Thank you, Mayor. So I know maybe this is too much of a level of detail right now, but I am just would like a little bit more specificity, and maybe it's just, I'm not holding anybody to, to whatever they say today. It's not written in stone, I understand. But how many residents would you imagine being on a task force and/or board? Would it be the same amount, or is one going to have a little more people? Like the homelessness task force has many, many members. So I'm just wondering, and then, is it, are you looking for some kind of balance between, 50% members of the police department, 50% residents, or some other kind of, ratio or balance? I'm just kind of curious. And then I'm assuming there would be a council liaison or ex officio or whatever it's called, whatever the technical term is, and then maybe a staff person. So if you could just kind of describe a little bit about how you see the differences and the similarities between the board and the task force, and just kind of in general, like projecting or hoping or whatever.
Sure. Great questions, Councilmember Goff. Very high level, a task force would be intended to be shorter term. We went a different approach with our homelessness task force and really opened it up to whoever wanted to be involved, and got overwhelming response. So we do have an option there if you want to pursue that task force option to really design it as council sees appropriate. And so that's a future conversation you can have. In terms of the board design, that would also be a future conversation with City Council, to which I would bring back some options for Council to react to, and then give me consensus and guidance on how you want to move forward. So, you know, for the simplicity of discussion tonight, you might want to use the diversity board as an example to help think about, okay, board, the most recent board example that we have. And then task force, I mean, it could be however many people you wanted. I would say under 30. And I think that's similar to what I shared with council when we put the homelessness task force together at the beginning of the year. But really, it's up to council design.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you have your hand up or did you?
So I had it up and then I put it down because both Julie and Catherine asked the questions that I was interested in. But I just really briefly want to say thanks to Chief and Heather. I know that it's clear that you all put a lot of thought into this. And I think, you know, option 3 that you're recommending makes a lot of sense. And to Chief's point, I feel like, you know, Chief May, you've talked a lot over the last 6 months about your desire to take our police department to the next level. And I think this is a really good way to do that. So I'm excited about this recommendation.
Councilmember Escobar, are you trying to unmute? You don't have to. I just was trying to read the screen there.
No, I just had one of my RA reactor, knee jerk, they call them. This was in my hand, and that's what, but I do, now that I have the microphone, I want to say that I support the recommendation, and I've always believed that Chief is doing a good job, and he knows what his department needs, and he's the one that's accountable to that staff, and we need to support him and make sure that this gets done. Thank you.
Councilmember Witkovich.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to say thank you to Chief and Heather for this really great memo and outlining our options. This makes it really easy for me to support option 3. And that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
So I heard public support from Councilmember Witkovich just now and Mayor Pro Tem Wolford. Does anyone else want to speak a little more specifically about options? Councilmember Goff?
Yes, I guess if this is the appropriate time to do that. I also wanted to thank the city manager and the chief of the police for all the hard work that, I mean, this presentation is so clear. It's really easy to see what went into it and what the comparisons are. So it really is a good tool for making a decision. I support the advisory board. I think we've heard a lot from residents that, that they'd like to be more involved. So I could see this as taking the next step towards involving our residents. And that I'm very pleased that the chief also thinks that that's the best way to go. I think we're going to have the best police department, and I really look forward to seeing how this, how this comes and how it manifests. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Thank you.
Councilmember Duran-Malika.
Yeah, I meant to say what I was supporting, but I didn't tell you. So I also support the recommendation for option 3, the advisory board. Again, I just think that we've had lots of conversation, or we've heard from residents from both sides weigh this, and I think that Heather and Chief have done a great job of finding the solution that's right for Northland, which is what I think all of us were hoping to find, and I think we have it, and just excited about moving forward. Thanks.
Councilmember Peterson.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Chief, question for you.
Go ahead, Randall.
Thank you. What type of resources do you foresee that you're going to need on this over the next 6 months and year? I mean, Heather gave us the number and the cost, but what do you need in terms of, I mean, obviously Barry Dunn and stuff, but what type of resources can you anticipate in this? Anticipate needing to, one, create it, and then two, to sustain it?
Yeah, I think the prioritizations, that's one of the things that we're working on currently. And I think, like the city manager stated, it's going to be, on some of those categories that we're looking at and the recommendations we're looking at, it's going to be, again, several year implementation. However, this is one of those that we'd like to get started on as soon as possible. But we have some other things that we have to make sure too is the restructuring of the command staff is very important to make sure we have that right structure. I see myself working with the city manager, really trying to promote this within the community and really engage. So, having a deputy chief that can also take some of the day-to-day operational stuff away from me, that frees up some of my time. And again, looking at our 7-year staffing plan that was developed, and some of those recommendations, they're going to follow some of the staffing plans we have over the future. So I'm hoping that we can, with the body cams and some of the other things that we're doing for next year, bring this back to you within, I think it's the 19th of October on what that looks like and how we're going to get there. So right now I'm pretty comfortable, where we're at and trying to get some of those things that are our high priorities on that recommendation list taken care of next year. I wish the economy was better, but a couple of years down, we'll hopefully have that staffing that we need. We're currently 8 officers down, so we're trying to fill those positions and get those on board and ready to go for next year too. So again, I don't want to overload my staff, but I think with some of the things that we're going to prioritize and get done for next year, I think we're going to be okay. I hope that's what you wanted.
Yeah, that's fine. And I just have a few more follow-up questions for this too. For the people, whether we do, if this were to be in the form of a board or a council, what would be your preference on that in terms of how to make this workable for all involved?
I think what I'm excited about is the engagement piece and letting, when we have Mitch and his team come in and going out, reaching out into the community and really hearing what they would like to see. And we want to be part of the conversation. We want to invite as many people to the table as possible to make sure that we hear everybody's voice. So again, I think, trying to come up, I was listening, the council member Goff's, statements like, who knows what that's going to look like until the community gives that feedback on how they would like to see it develop and how you guys would like to also see it develop. So I think there's a huge opportunity. We don't, again, want to just say, oh, this is how it's going to be, and it could change direction when we're meeting with our residents. So again, I'm just, I want to make sure I'm there to listen. And again, make sure that we provide the best police service that our residents demand and that they want from us. So.
And then would you anticipate having some sort of an onboarding process, training in terms of the work you do, the stuff that you're already engaged in, so people will be operating at a base level of knowledge and understanding when they would come into this work?
Well, I think that goes along with the, I guess our philosophy, and then when it comes to community policing and what, we tell our officers is like the best way to provide the best police services to your community is to get to know your community. And I think that goes both ways. I think that, some of the things that we've had citizens academies, we've had ride-along programs. So I think, again, developing some type of educational, because, how we do traffic stops and everything else, there's a lot of steps that go in that, and they're like, oh, that's probably why you do that. So I think there's a lot of information that can go both ways. But again, I think that, look, I think our department, I've had officers who teach in those academies. They're excited about expanding some of those citizens academies and everything else, but also maybe providing a course for our, those that want to be involved in this task force. So yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, long answer, yes. I would like to have.
That's what I needed. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilmember Downing.
Thank you. I just want to add, I thought the presentation was very good. It was clear and precise and answered all the questions that I had in the past. So I am very excited about the option number 3. I think it's the way to go. I think that it's going to be very inclusive. And I like the idea of this being put forth in an ordinance versus a resolution, so it's very firm and we can commit into the strategic plan. So I'm very happy to lend my support.
Councilmember Downing, you took my comment. No, I'll just say ditto. No, really, this was very, very helpful. We've had this conversation for quite a few weeks now, and we've had some resident input. I'm very excited for the community engagement component of this as well. I guess I wanted to start by saying thank you for the work behind the scenes. I know other council members have said the same, but I think it's really important to note that the work that you did and presented tonight was extremely responsive to months of feedback, whether it was town hall conversations, which we've had quite a few, or public comment, emails, council discussions, long nights. And I can tell that as city staff, specifically Heather and Chief, you did a great job of listening and being super responsive all the way down to, working with an organization, but digging a little deeper and finding some people of color to support this work. That was something that was raised by residents and council. And so that is really exciting. And Gloria and Rick seem to be amazing. So I think that'll be a really good addition to the plan. I also support it because it is a long-term investment in this work, and the ordinance is a great idea. So that was the piece that I wanted to share. And also, thinking through Councilmember Goff's questions, I want to say again how much I enjoyed the process for the diversity board. That felt very thorough. It felt very balanced. I don't know what the makeup of this new board will be, but that process was solid. It was really great. And it was, however we communicated it, we brought engaged residents out of the woodwork, which was so exciting. And I think we'll probably do the same for this one. So I'm really excited, but again, super proud of our staff because it's cutting edge, as you said, it's new. And the fact that you're willing to take these risks it's impressive. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for all that feedback. And I hear support for standing up an advisory board. So we'll be back in front of you in November. I'll give you more specifics once we can figure out a date with design considerations for council feedback.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, moving into public invited to be heard. So this is another opportunity for public comment. Statements are related to 3 minutes per speaker, must be related to an item previously discussed tonight. Joanna, do we have anyone who would like to speak to council?
I have not received any emails, voicemails, or texts, but I would pause for just a minute in case there is anybody connected to the phone line who might want to unmute themselves and speak.
Okay. Okay, well, I don't hear anybody, so we're going to move on. We need to actually move on to an executive session, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session. Pursuant to Section 4.5G of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for negotiations regarding a potential agreement with Denver North Lodging, LLC, and pursuant to Section 4.5D of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for legal consultation and advice regarding the Northglenn marketplace. Joanna, will you call? Oh, I need a motion, sorry.
I would second your motion.
I jumped right in there.
You did.
Joanna, will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Lighty,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford,
Yes.
Councilmember Witkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Downing,
Yes.
Councilmember Goff,
Yes.
Councilmember Duran Malika,
Yes.
Councilmember Escabel.
Yes.
I will close that vote, and the motion to adjourn to executive session passes unanimously.
Excellent. We are adjourned to executive session.